All right, Shalom, Shalom. Brother Tazadak, hero of Israel. I'd like to start off by giving honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone. Right, today we're going to go into Deuteronomy chapter 23. Right, so Lord willing, you're edified, giving honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone. Let's get right into it. Deuteronomy 23:1 reads, La'a Yakwach Ayash Ata Ashach. Right, he will not take a man to the wife of his father. Abiyawa. Right, Wa La'a Yagala. Right, and he will not remove, because that word gala means to remove, right? Kanap meaning it means wing, but it's talking about the skirt, as in the covering of his father's wife, as in he shall not lay with her, right? So Kanap Abiyawa, right? So it reads essentially, it's like it. Just adjust this real quick. So essentially it says, you will not take, or Salakia, he shall not take a man to the wife of his father, and he will not uncover the skirt of his father, right? Which is the skirt of a dress, which denotes, right, the man laying with his father's wife, right? So it's something that should not be done, right? La'a Yaba'a Patazai Daka, right? He will not enter, right? That word patazai means wounded, right? Daka is a derivative of dak, right? Or daka, meaning to crush, right? So that's talking about, right, the privy parts of a male, right? Because it doesn't say so, but you can get it by the context of the verse, right? Which I'll go over, right? Wakarath, and is cut off or cut. Shapaka, that is denoting the male member, the penis, right? That's what it's talking about. Bakwahal Yahweh, upon the assembly, in the assembly of the Lord, right? So it says, they will not enter in one that is crushed, or Salakia, one that is wounded, crushed, and cut off to his male member, or you can just say privy parts, upon the assembly of the Lord, right? So it doesn't have to say, testicles or anything like that, like it says here, right? That's talking about the general, the male member, right? Verse 3, La'a Yaba'a Mamzar Ba'kwahal Yahweh, meaning he will not enter. He will not enter a mamzer in the assembly of the Lord, right? Gam Dawar Ashayataya, even to the generation the 10th, right? Because Ashayataya means 10th, right? Ishar means 10, right? And that word Dawar means generation, right? Or Dar, right? The Y it's supplemental, right? Salakia. La'a yaba'a lawa bakwahal Yahweh, meaning he will not enter. Slakia, they will not bring in to him in the assembly of the Lord, right? Deuteronomy 23:4, La'a yaba'a I'm wanaya um um wa mawa'abya, right? Meaning uh they will not enter an Ammonite and a Moabite, the assembly of the Lord, Bakwahal Yahweh, Gum, even to the generation the 10th, right? The war, uh, really it's a Dar, right? Ashaya, Ashayariah, right? And that word for Amen, right? It's really, right? Uh, I'm Naya, right? Because, right? But for Moab is actually Mawab, right? But Ammon is really Iman, right? Singular, plural is Imnaya, right? So yeah, you just have to kind of discern where the Y is actually needed, right? And the reason why it says that an Ammonite and a Moabite, right, or one that has to its privy parts mutilated, right? It says 10th generation because that means 10 symbolizes completeness, as in, you know, it's another way to say, you know, in this case, forever, right? But if you're saying, you know, for example, proverb, sound wisdom is as of 10 fellows, right? You're saying complete wisdom, right? Comparing it to 10 of your individual friends, right? So that's what it's talking about, right? La'a yaba'a laham, right? Meaning they will not bring in to them, right? Ba kwahal Yahweh, right? In the assembly of the Lord, even to forever, right? Ad iwalam, right? And sometimes when you read that word iwalam, sometimes it's just written as ilam, right? So that Y is really supplementary. But I like to just say iwalam, right? Because it gives those that aren't necessarily learning the Hebrew, they might confuse it with ilam, which is two different meanings, right? Verse 5, Al Dabar, Ashar, La'a, Wadamwa, right? Upon the matter which they did not go before to thee, Athakam, upon bread, Ba'alacham, and upon water, Waba Mayim, in the way, Badarak, Bataza'a Thakam, right? And upon your going out from Egypt, right? Ma Matazarium, right? Salaki. Wa Ashar Shakar Al Yakai, right? In which they rewarded, or Salakia, they hired against thee to Balaam, Atha Balaim, the son of Beor, Ban Bayar, right? That Y is supplementary. Ma pathar, right? Now, that means ma meaning of, pathar means interpreter, right? For example, a interpreter of dreams would be pathar halam, right? Or pathar mahalam, right? Aram Naharium, meaning Aram, which is a place in upper Mesopotamia. Naharium, Nahar means river, right? The yum makes it plural, right? To curse thee, right? La qualal ka, right? Now qualal is not the actual word for curse, it's arar, right? Qualal just means to abhor, right? Um, verse 6. Wala'a abba Yahweh Allahayakah, right? And was not willing, the Lord of your power, to hear La Shomai, to Balaam, Al Balaim, right? And he overturned, right? Wayahapak, right? It's not like Shapak. Shapak means to pour, right? As in you're not to eat blood, and instead you are to pour it upon the earth as water, right? But that word hapak is in the sense of to overturn, right? For example, you have a utensil, right? You overturn it on its other side. That would mean hapak. Also, it means in the sense of, in this case, right? The Lord is saying that He overturned the curse that Balaam was hired to put on the children of Israel, right? Which unknowingly, right? It wasn't a curse at all, because the heathens were not aware that there was no divination against the children of Israel, right? Which is really common sense if you have some sense in these latter days, right? Because most of the time, when you hear something like curse, it's just really that's the modern day, what you would call manifesting something, right? Which is, um, what a charmer would do, right? What they're called habar, right? Or they're called habar. It just means charmer, because they use charms, right? They use manifestation in order to cast spells, but really all that's just mumbo jumbo. That stuff is not real, right? Um, so the heathens this is the type of things they're into, right? Not just idolatry, but they seek out many inventions, like the scriptures say, but it's really just there's no actual power behind that. Like if someone were to say, "Oh, I'm gonna put a jinx on that person," it's just that stuff is not real. Magic is not real, basically, is what I'm saying, right? Um, because here, kualal, it just means to abhor, right? And that's the curses that the Lord put on Israel, right? And right, that word arar, which is the actual word for curse, it just means you could curse somebody out, as in cuss them out, or you know, you can pronounce evil, right, upon them, which is what the Lord did. He pronounced evil, arar, meaning it was recorded and then it came to pass, right? Um, so yeah, that's what it means, right? So it says, Wayehapak Yahweh Allahayaka, and you overturn the Lord your power unto thee, Laka, to the curse, Ata Hakwalala, Quala, um, to a blessing, La Baraka, Kaya Habka, because he had loved thee, the Lord of your power, Yahweh Allahayaka, right? Verse 7, La'a Thadarash, Shalom, Shalamum, right? Meaning you will not seek their peace, right? And it will be well unto thee. Wa tabthum, right? So see, you don't need that, the wa for tawab, right? As even with other words, right? Call it yamyaka all your days, right? Forever. La iwalam, right? But it could be read as la ilam, right? But I usually just pronounce it as iwalam, so it's, in this case, when I'm going into the Hebrew, right, in a teaching setting. But when I read it, I always just read La Ilam, you know. La'a ta ta ta'aiba. You will not abhor um Edomite Adamya, but that's actually talking about, this is actually a scribal error. It's actually an Aramite, right? Aramia, which is it doesn't mean the actual children of Aram, which is one of the five sons of Adam. It is talking about in general those that dwelt in Mesopotamia, right, during right the time of Abraham, right, which they were the five sons of Ham and the respective tribes and clans. A clan being something uh, uh, a smaller tribe, right, or a tribe within a tribe, which is how you say mashapach, right, or mashapacha, which is really just mashapach, because that ha at the end is just silent, right? So like, yeah, I don't know what's going on with this. So yeah, that's talking about that area in general, right? And that area where where those the where Abraham came out of, right? Which was known as the land of the Chaldeans, right? Babylon, which is southern Mesopotamia, which is the Fertile Crescent, which will be, you know, modern day Turkey, Iraq, Iran, all of that area basically, right? But the reason why I said this, right, is because, you know, that is where Abraham's people dwelt, right? And you see through the various accounts, Jacob and Isaac, they got wives from there because they were of their brethren, you know. Um, but this was really, something written to remind the children of Israel, even after they came out of Egypt, right, 400 years, that you know, to keep that in sample, you can take a wife of your tribes, um, you know, you can take wives of the other nations, but the Lord said, right, this is according to Scripture, don't take wives of the, have nothing to do with the Canaanites, right? So you can't say, oh well, today you can take all wives but not the Canaanites, you know, or vice versa, right? Because there were certain things were written for certain times, right? And you don't know who's a Canaanite in these days, so it's not really profitable to even talk about it, right? Because she could look like a Canaanite, but that could be a Jake, right? Who are you to say, right? Who is what, right? Now they may act like a heathen, but because they grew up around in a heathen area, right? Or they grew up around heathens, right? So there's certain things that are not really, you can't directly apply them in one way, right? Because the Lord said back then not to deal with the Canaanites, period. But you do that on a daily basis, right? Whether you know it or not. Same with thou shalt not abhor an Aramite, right? Um, you deal with the other nations, but really they stink, you know. The uh, you know, you got because this isn't just talking about just the children of Aram, or it's not just talking about the people that dwell in Mesopotamia, right? Um, this is really talking about Shemites in general, right? But really, it's really just was dealing with those people that were in that area, right, during that time. Now today, you don't know where those people migrated. You don't know if they look like Edomites. You don't know if they look like, right. So this law, you can't actually directly apply it. You can't say, oh, he's an East Indian. Oh, do not abhor an Amramite. Or you may see uh you know anybody that may look like like an East Indian, oh, that might be a Ram. This may be, or no, maybe he was, he looks like a Mesopotamian. We don't know that, right? So there's certain laws that you can't actually you know it's no use going over them, right? Because the scriptures say, for example, taking multiple wives, that's in the law, right? But Paul said, the deacons be sober, have a man and one wife. That's because those men in those positions had prominent positions, right? And like Paul the apostle said, all things are profitable, but all things are lawful, but all things are not convenient, right? So there's certain things you just kind of, you can't directly apply, you know, but it's scripture. So if the law says multiple wives, you can have multiple wives. The law, Paul wasn't being contrary to the law, but he was just saying certain positions, just to give a good example, you know, like deacons, just have one wife, right? Like he said, to be in samples unto the flock. He didn't say, you know, well, as saith the law, like he said when women should be under obedience. He said after that, as saith the law. But he didn't say, as saith the law, one wife, right? But anyways, that's just some of the things that Israel is caught up in, that multiple wives or that monogamous spirit. Mono means one. Monogamy means just having one significant other, which women should have. But men, they can deal with multiple women. You know, of course, in order. Not like, you know. So you women, it's up to you. You have to know who you're dealing with too, because you can't just, be follow the doctrine, right? Which is the scriptures. That's the true doctrine, right? But then you're not thinking about what type of men in the truth you're dealing with, right? Because there is, in and out of the truth. You have Jake, he's still going to be Jake, right? So he might deal with multiple women, but he's not going to do it in order, meaning he's just going to deal with them just to deal with them. So it's not just about the man's responsibility, it's about the women as well. They have a responsibility to know who they're dealing with, right? So that's the rationale behind that, right? Um, so yeah, so it reads Achiaka, or it's like Kaya Achiaka, because he is your brother. Hawa, uh, uh, he, right? La'a tha ta'aiba, you will not abhor an Egyptian. Matazaria, because a sojourner. Kaya gar, you were. Hayayath, in Egypt, or Slakia, in his land. Ba'ratazawa, right? So there's certain things you can't apply. You can't directly apply this law, or certain or just because Abraham took a wife out of that land, you're not gonna all just be like, okay, well, Jacob did it, so let me do it, right? Which is not profitable. Um, Deuteronomy 23:9, Benayim, Ashar, Yaladwa, right? Um, Meaning children which are brought forth of them, or to them. Laham, right? That word Yalad means to bring forth, right? Certain instances it might mean, baby, right? Or infant, right? But the actual word for infant is tap, right? As in tapping, feet, little baby feet, right? Dawar, Shalaya Shaya, right? Meaning generation, third. Uh, they will bring in Yaba'a Laham to them in the assembly of the Lord. Bakwahal Yahweh, right? Um, verse 10. Kaya ta taza'a machana, right? Meaning because you go out from the camp, right? Or Salakia, not it doesn't actually well, yeah, because you go out, right, from the camp against your enemy, al ayabyaka, wana shamarta, and keep to yourself, right, or slaki, and you will keep yourself, makal dabar rai, from all matter of evil, right? It's going to explain in this next verse what it's referencing. Kaya Yahaya Baka Ayash Ashar, because there be in thee a man which is not clean. La'a Yahaya Tahor. Uh, Makwara, which is of chance by night. La Yala, right? Meaning, he went into his wife at night, the previous night. He's not to go out to battle, right? Not only is he unclean, but he's also weakened, right? Because when you lay down with your wife, or you know, um, um, right, whatever the case may be, right, after the emission of semen, right, you kind of lose a little bit of strength, right? Um, and that's what it's talking about in general, right? So, you know, um, so it could be for any reason, right? Wayataza'a, right? And he will go out al Mahawataza, which means to, al ma meaning of, Hawataza means without, right? Outside the camp, right? That is also how you say like yard. Like backyard, you would say achar mawat achar hawataza, right? Um, Front yard would be kodam hawataza, right? Which is kodam means before, achar means after, right? If you want to say side yard would be either yad hawataza, right? Yad meaning hand, but it also means side. But that's not it's a non-literal way to say side, figuratively, right? Or you could say tazad, which is the actual word for side. Tazad hawataza, right? La machana, la'a yaba'a, right? So he's going to go without the camp, meaning outside of the camp, right? He will not go in to the midst of the camp, which is al tawak ha machana, right? Because the word camp is a derivative of ma, meaning of, chana, meaning to encamp, right? So if you want to just say, camp, it's chana. If you want to say someplace where you're actually camping, which is after you set up, your camping station, it's machana, right? So it says, because there be in thee a man which is not clean, right, which chanceth him by night, and he will go out uh, without the camp, right, meaning outside the camp, and Urslaki, he will not go in to the midst of the camp, right? So let's analyze that word Korah. Deuteronomy 23 and 7. Slakia. Let's get that. Deuteronomy 23 and 7. Salakia. Would I click on 8? Damn. Did I look at the wrong one? Oh, 11. Deuteronomy 23 and 10, right? Which is, let's see. Where is it? Oh, here. Quara, right? Not to be confused with quara'a, meaning to meet, right? Either meet someone in battle, right? Right. This is in a different sense, right? Which quara means to read as well, or to call out, or to cry, right? As in making supplication to the Lord. But the actual word for that, let's see. Let's just type in pray, right? And that's the actual word for pray, palal, which just means to distinguish. You're out of your own words, you're distinguishing what you're going to say, right? In supplication, right? It's ithar, right? So if you want to say supplication to the Lord, you would say Ithar la Yahweh, right? Which Ithar means and it says compared to Qatar, but no, it's not. That's not what it's talking about. Ithar. The Syriac says Itar, retard. It says to smoke with perfume. Itara, meaning incense. The Arabic says Itar. And right, which is confusion. To pray as a suppliant, to pray to a god, right? To supplicate, right? There you have it. Compare with the Arabic Ithar, right? Those little two dots, that's tha. That little claw thing, it looks like my dick. Slovakia. I'm just joking. That's a right? Tha ra. Right? So supplicate. But that word Torah, Slovakia, I didn't even go to the damn word. Damn. What's up with this? Deuteronomy 23:11. Slovakia. Shit. Let's see how many verses we got left, actually, real quick. Alright, con. Got about 14 left. Alright, Korah. That actually means, right. Essentially the same thing, Korah, chance, accident. No, that's not what it's talking about. Chance. Nope, means none of that. Nocturnal pollution. Nope. It just means it's basically the same as Quara'a, but it's written in a different way, right? Something that is meet him by night, right? And it's not talking about a nocturnal emission. Now that could be it, but it's also talking about going into your wife in the nighttime, right? All right, so Quara. Why didn't it show the Leviticus preset? Right, so Ma Quara, La Yala would just mean which meets him by night. Right? So verbatim it says, because there be in thee a man which is not clean, which meets him, right? Or by here you would say, by chance in the night, right? Or of chance, or of meeting in the night, meaning something that happens, right? Which right, he either goes into his wife, or he anything else other than that, right? he will go out from the camp. He will not go in to the midst of the camp, right? Wahaya la panawath, or Salaki, Wahaya la panwath, Irab, and it will come to pass at the turning of the evening, right? Because that word panya means face. Sometimes it's used to turn, panwath, right? Or before, before someone or something, right? But here it says at the turn of evening, right? Ra chataza, he will wash in water. Bamayim, wa ka ba'a, and like the going down, and like the going down, because ba'a could mean to go in, to go down, to enter, right? Of the sun, hashamash. He will enter or go in to the camp, right? So you can just say he will enter to the midst of the camp. Yaba'a al the wak ha machana, right? Wayad tahaya laka ma khawataza, right? Right, and it says, and to the side there will be unto thee outside of the camp la manacha, or Salakia la machana, right? And he will go out hither without the camp. Wayataza'ath shama hawatazah, right? It doesn't say anything about he's going to relieve himself there. That's going to go in the latter part in the next verse, right? So you got to be privy to these things, right? Because when it says wayad, there's nothing translated that says anything about a hand. That's talking about, right? And to the side there will be unto thee without the camp, right? Meaning that's gonna be the area where you're gonna either pee or take a number two. You can either, right, urinate there or defecate, right? It has to be somewhere on the side of the camp, outside the camp, right? And it says, and he will go out hither outside. And this is going to tell you what he's going to, for what purpose. Wayathad Yahaya or Thahaya Laka. That word Yathad means paddle, right? As in a small shovel, right? And you can also, it could also mean just a paddle in general, right? A flat paddle could be a small paddle, kind of oval shaped, it doesn't matter. Kind of like this. But it's denoting a paddle, right? So, flat. Alright, there we go. So it could look something like this, a small paddle. Or it could be something like this, something to scoop up some dirt, right? But modern day would probably look something like this, something small that you could, not too long, maybe with some hooks on it or some, right? Kind of like a big hand fork, you'd be able to just carry it, just kind of dig into the dirt, right? They probably got those type of things as camping equipment, right? You do that when you go out camping, right? If you don't have a RV or trailer, right? And right, the paddle will be unto thee, right, beside your weapon. Al azan ka. That word azan means weapon, right? Wahaya, and it will come to pass, Salakia, So when you see Wahaya, it means it will come to pass, right? But when you see Yahaya, right? For example, Wah Yahaya, right? That means and, right? He, Haya was, right? Just so you know. Wahaya, it means and was or came to pass, right? Or will be, right? But here it's saying, and it will come to pass upon your sitting down, ba shab shab ba shabath ka, right? And the root word is uh, shab, right? Salakia, let's get that real quick. Deuteronomy 23:14. Deuteronomy 23:14. Um, Yashab, right? Actually, make sure. Yeah, sit down to dwell, right? But here, so that word yashab means dwell or sit down, right? Here it's talking about sitting down, right? Which you would say bashab, bashabath ka, and upon your sitting down outside, hawataza, wa chapar, partha, and you will dig, right? Upon it, baha, and you will sit down, wa shabath, wa kasayath, and you will cover to it, right? To atha, taza atha ka, to that which goes out from thee, right? Which is your excrement, right? So you're not actually going to sit on the dirt and take a number two. It just means in that position. Or, if you have to, urinate, you're just going to stand, right? But it still has to be without the camp, even though it doesn't say that. Right? So let's get Deuteronomy 23:14. Kapar. Kapar, to dig, as a well, a pit. Right? To search out, to explore. Kapar. Right? Just means to dig. Right? Dig. To dig. Right? Really nothing here. Doesn't really say anything. To dig. Right? Right? So verbatim it says, and a paddle will be unto thee beside your weapon, right? And will come to pass upon your sitting down outside, and you will dig upon it, and will sit, and will cover to that which comes out from thee. Kaya Yahweh Alahayaka Matha Halak, because the Lord your power, he walks in your midst, Bakwarab, of the camp, Machanaka, to deliver thee, Laha Tazayalka, right? But really that reads to withdraw thee, as in from the battle, or from the hand of your enemies, right? Because the root is Natazal, to withdraw. Nashal means to put off, right? The Lord said, put off your shoes, this holy ground, right? That's what he was talking about. But you can read it as delivered, because that's the sense that it's given. Walathath ayabyaka lapanyaka, to give to your enemies before thee. Wahaya machanayaka, and will be your camp holy. Quadash. Wala'a yara'a, and will not be seen in thee. Baka, filthiness. Arwath, right? A matter, right? Meaning anything. The bar. Washab ma achariyaka, right? And turn back from thee, from after thee, right? Let's look at that word. I believe it's ira. Verse 15. Let's get that. Slacky, that's not it. Ira, right? You don't need that wa. You know, it doesn't, because the word is actually ira, as you can see down here, right? And that's the Masoretic. That's because the Masoretes, they did that, inserted the was in order to make copying the text easier, right? Nakedness, pudenta was talking about nakedness, right? Because in the ancient days, nakedness was and in the scriptures, nakedness is synonymous with sin, right? Or going off, or filthiness, right? Which the word for naked is, I believe it's Iram. Here it is. Salakia, that's not it. Damn. I don't know why I clicked on that. Iram. Make naked, be naked, uncover. Right? Which the Arabic says Irim. Yeah, bet you do. Sick ass heathen. Let's see. Yeah, that's what it means. Impudent, spiteful. Yeah, so you know, all that desert, you know, just made Ishmael and these other Shemites cuckoo, right? And I guess, anyways. Oh, let's see what we got for Syriac. Irayama, right? That little stick is the ah, the dot is the ra. What looks like that little stick in front of the dot, that's ya. What looks like a six, that's a ma, and that's a ah at the end. Which they end all their words with ah. Ah. Because they're loco. Arayam. Syriac. It doesn't say what it means. Oh, shrewd. No. Actually, let's see what Ira says. Nakedness, right? Here it is. That's what I was looking for. To be naked. Arabic is a are, right? So that's the ra, that's a ha, right? Ara, compare with ara. Plants, hairs. Let's see. Ira, to pour out. Let's see. No, that's not what it's talking about. To make naked, uncover, to pour out. He had poured out his soul unto death. He delivered himself to death, right? Which is Isaiah 53 and 12, talking about Yahweh Shai, Ha'ira, Lamawath, Napashwa, right? That's not what it's talking about, right? Meaning, he made bare unto death his soul. That's all that it means, right? It's not talking about, That's why you have to discern, right? And know what certain of these other scripts say as well. So the Arabic says asal, napasa, to pour out, to give up one's life or soul. Which, I don't know, that's kind of like bugged out. Shaddai actually doesn't say anything for that, so no use reading it. That's it really for that. Probably should keep moving. Let's see. So it says verse 15 verbatim, because the Lord your power, he walks in the midst of your camp, right, to deliver thee, to place the enemy before thee, right, and will be your camp holy, and will not be seen in thee any filth. And not turn back from after thee, right? So your camp is supposed to be holy, which is why you're supposed to have places without, right, to either um, defecate or urinate, right? Um, because it says washab ma'haryaka, right? Because if the Lord sees that any matter of filthiness or uncleanness, right, that means that protection is going to be removed, right? Um, right. That's talking about back then when you were in encampments and you were among a host of people, right? Today, we got the grace of Yahweh Shai, Hamashayach, the water Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, right? Because certain things, we're not gonna say, we gotta. That means we gotta go outside and take a number two. Nope, that's not what it's talking about. Anyways, La Sagayor Ibad Al Adanyawa Adanyawa. Um, so it says, you will not shut in, or Salakia, yeah, you will not shut in a servant to his master, right? Meaning deliver him up. Ashar Yana Tazal, which he will, which he had withdrawn unto thee, right? Al Yaka Ma'aim Adanayawa, or Salakia Ma'aim, from with his Lord, Adanyawa, right? I'm Ka Yeshab Bakurab Ka Bamakwam, with thee he will dwell, right? Or with thee dwell, which is the same thing, There's no the Yah for he, but it just means with thee will dwell in your midst, Bakurab Ka, in the place Bamakwam, which you will choose, Ashar Yabahar, in one of your gates, Ba'achar Shayar Yaka, Batawab Lawa, and will be well unto him, La'a Tawa Wana Tawana Nawa, meaning you will not afflict him, right? Because there are certain words where doesn't necessarily have to say the whole word itself, right? Because when you pronounce it, it's going to show you that it's talking about aina, meaning to afflict or to bring low, to humble, right? Which is ta wana wana nawa, right? Because it's a way of saying aina without writing it as ta wa aina ha na wa. It's just to shorten the word itself, right? La'a Tahaya Quadash, or Quadsha Quadsha, there will not be meaning unclean, which is would be pronounced La'a Tahaya Quadsa, right? Because it's not a hard sha, because you don't want it to confuse it with holy. This is actually talking about false or pseudos or unclean, right? There will not be an unclean of the daughters ma banath, right? Which is the wise supplemental, right? You don't need it. Of the daughters of Israel, Yasha'ala, Wala'a Yahaya, Quadas, right? And there will not be, right, unclean of the sons of Israel, right? Ma Benaya Yasha'ala. Because it doesn't mean prostitute, it just means unclean, right? Unclean or false, right? Or false holy, right? Because you have Quadash, separated, which is holy, separated, right? But then on that other side, you have what is separated, right, from the clean. You have the clean, the unclean. They're both separated, but this is you have in a righteous way, and you have in the false way, right, which is Quadas, which is why it's called unclean, right? Unclean, unholy, right? That's what it's talking about, right? La'a tabaya baya'a atanan. You will not bring in, right? Atanan is a female ass, right? So you will not bring in the ass of a harlot, zana, right? Is that why it's supplemental, right? So they compare the harlot to an animal, right? But you're not to bring in, right, into the temple, right? Wama chayar kalab. That word mahar is price, right? You have mahar, mahara, that means to sell, or slakia makar, right? Then you have mahar, means price, right? So if you say what is the price of sale? You would say lama makar, ma makar, right? So it says, in the price of a dog to the house of the Lord your power, Bayath Yahweh Allahayakah, Lakal Nadar Kaya Ta'ibath, right? For all vow, because it is an abomination to the Lord your power, Yahweh Allahayakah, Gam Shanyaham, even both of them, right? So verbatim it says, you will not bring the ass of a harlot, right? And the price of a dog to the house of the Lord your power. For all vowels, right? Because it is an abomination to the Lord your power, even both of them, right? La'a ta shayak la ahyaka nashak, meaning that word shayak, it's actually the root word is nashak, literally means bite, right? Snake bite, whatever the case may be, right? Meaning you're taking interest, right? Right? But verbatim it literally reads, you will not bite your brethren, right? Nashak kasap, in biting silver, right? Meaning getting interest out of silver you may loan him. Nashak akal, biting of food, meaning you lend him a couple sheaves or some crops, you're not supposed to charge him interest for that. Nashak called the bar, right? Biting all matter, Ashar Yashak, which he will bite, right? But simply put, it just says um, you will not get interest for your brother, right? Interest of silver, interest of food, interest of all matter, right? Um, which which he will which he will loan, right? So that word's not loan, but um, basically all matter, right? Which he will pay an interest, right? Because that's the main point, right? Which he will, right? Which he will, right? That has to do with interest. Um, right. So simply put, right? Just right. You will not charge interest to your brethren. Interest of silver, interest of food, interest of all matter concerning interest, right? Salakia. All right, we got 5 more verses. La Nakaria Tashayak. To the stranger you will charge interest, right? And to your brethren you will not charge interest. Wala Ahyaka or Salakia. Yeah. Wa la Ahyaka la Tashayak. Right? So that Lamayan, he may bless thee, the Lord your power. Yabarak, Yahweh Lahayaka, and all the sending out of your hand, Bakal, Mashalach, Yadka, right? Upon the land, Al Ha'ratazah, which you are going in hither to possess. Ashar Atha, Ba'a Shema, La Rashata, La Rasha, La Rashata, right? Kayat Nadar La Yahweh Lahayaka, because you vow a vow to the Lord, your power, right? La'a ta'achar, you will not defer, right? Or you will not hinder to pay it. La shalamwa, right? That word shalom means peace, but it also means pay, right? Right. So that word achar can be used in a hindermost area, right? A back area, right? It's also the direction of the west, pointing west, right? But also means right to hinder, or right something, right? Meaning do not delay, right? If you can understand what I'm saying. Kaya darash, yadarash nawa, because surely he will seek to it, the Lord of your power, Yahweh lahayaka, from thee, ma'amka, wahaya, baka, hata'a, and it will be upon thee sin, right? That's talking about if you vow a vow, you have to fulfill it, right? Because the Lord will seek it from thee, right? And it will be accounted as sin if you don't do it. Which is it's better not to vow if you can't keep the vow. Which goes into what Paul the Apostle said. I believe that was Paul the Apostle. He said, it's better not to swear, right? Yahweh Shai said the same thing, right? Swear neither by heaven or earth, right? And he didn't say that because he was saying be contrary to the law, where you can't do it, period. But it's just better not to just do it in general, right? Instead of vowing to do it, the thing that Yahweh Shai taught was just to do it, right? Like, oh, I'm gonna make a vow, and I'm gonna be a better person. Yahushua just said, just do it. It's better to not even to swear by heaven and earth, because then you're not bound by that oath, right? Um, which is called alha. Um, Mataza'a shapath, right? What comes out of your lips, right? That word shapath means lip or lips, right? Or shapah means lip. Shapath is lips, right? You will keep tashamar wa ashayath and do, like which you have sworn, Salakia, like which you have vowed, ka ashard nadartha, um, Salakia nadarath, right? Like which you have vowed to the Lord your power, Yahweh lahayakah, nadabah, meaning voluntarily, or to be voluntary, to volunteer. But here it's voluntarily, which ashar, you will speak the bartha, the bartha, right, upon your mouth, bapayaka, right. So it says that which comes out of your mouth, that which comes out of your lips, you will keep and do, like which you had vowed to the Lord your power, right, willingly, right, which you had spoken upon your mouth, right. So nadab means willingly, voluntarily. It has the same thing. Kaya taba'a bakaram raika rayaka, right, because you go in upon the vineyard of your neighbor, wa kalta, right, and you eat grapes, inabium, right, ka napashka, like uh to your soul, right, meaning like what your soul desires, right, shabai ka, you be satisfied, wa'al kalayaka, and not to your instrument, and you will not to your instrument, right, la'a tatan, right, you will not place, right, meaning you, when you go into your neighbor's vineyard, eat some grapes, right, you're gonna eat as much as satisfies you, right, but you're not gonna take your instrument and put anything in it to carry it, to take it with you, right. Kayata ba'a, or Salakia, because you go into the vineyard of your neighbor and you eat grapes according to your soul, you be satisfied, right, and be satisfied, but it doesn't really have to be in text, because you understand by reading it, and you be satisfied, right, you will not to your instrument place anything, right, meaning the instrument could be a vessel, right, like a basket, because it's the part of the equipment you're carrying as you're traveling. Kaya taba'a bakwamath rayaka raika, because you go in uh, upon the standing corn, right? So it's not into the place, because it will be ba makwam. It's talking about into the standing corn of your neighbor, right? Meaning he has a field, and you're entering into the area where there's crops, right? Which is why it's called kwamath, right? Standing corn or grain, whatever the case may be, right? Because kwam means to stand, or to raise up, right? Wa kwataptha, right? um, um, meaning to pluck, right? Um, ma layalath, right? Um, from um, from that which is cut off, right? Because remember that word malab means to talk, which is where you get the word malal from. Malal means to cut off, as in cut off in speech. You could be it means to circumcise, right? Because you're cutting off flesh from another, right? Just figurative way to say cut off, in speech, or you could actually, you know, um, uh, cut off, your foreskin, right, during circumcision, right? Because I'm gonna show you what the blue letter says in just a minute, right? Bayadka, in your hand, right? That which is cut off into your hand, right? Meaning whatever you pluck of your neighbor's standing corn, or it says standing corn. You can say standing corn just to say in general. Wa haramash, and the sickle, right? You will not lift up. La'a tanayap, right? That word nayap, the root for tanayap is nayap or nawap, means to lift up and down, right? Or in the book of Isaiah, where it says, "Go up to the gates of the nobles and shake the hand." It's talking about, when you shake your hand up and down, right? For example, if you scold somebody, if you scold somebody, you're gonna hold your hand like this, pointing the finger, and you're gonna shake it up and down, you know, which is what we do, go out on the highways, you know, um, and kind of shake the hand, say, repent or this and that, destruction is coming, right? But it also means in the sense of you're not going to take a sickle, you know, and just let me see how much grain I could just cut, and I'll just take that with me, So it's just saying, right? You're just going to take what you are able with your hand. You can't use an instrument, right, to take more than what your hand can take to consume, right? Because you're not supposed to take anything and put it in any vessel. 26 and 25, that's what it's saying ultimately, right? So you will not lift up upon it, upon the standing corn, quamath, or just anything standing in general. Crop, you can just substitute that for crop or standing corn, right? Upon the crop of your neighbor, right? Rayaka, right? So it says, because you go in, right, upon the crop of your neighbor, and you pluck, right, and cutting off that which will be in your hand, right, and sickle, you will not lift up upon it, upon the crop of your neighbor, right? So that's what it's saying. But let's look at that word quatap, right? Then we'll close out. Salakia. Deuteronomy 23. Lord willing, you were edified, right? This wasn't really that difficult, but that's just me, because I study, and going into the Hebrew is not going to save you. I don't, me nor do GMS. I believe they say that going into the Hebrew or knowing all the Hebrew is going to save you, or knowing Greek, all of it. None of this is going to save you at the end of the day. What's going to save you is your faith as well as works, keeping the commandments to the best of your ability. Faith works, right? And I'd say ultimately not taking the charagma, because scripture say if you take it, you're going to be destroyed, right? So that's really all you got to do, right? Because part of not taking the charagma is getting the whole understanding, because you know what's coming, this, and that, right? Which right, that's the whole point. That's that new living way through Yahushua Hamashiach, right? Which is the prophecies, what is gonna come to pass, right? The destruction, right? The elect being delivered, 2/3 being destroyed, right? So that's pretty much it, right? In a handbasket, right? So let's see, Quatap mean to pluck. Don't confuse that with Zamar, meaning to prune, right? Quatap, to pluck off, to break off. The Arabic says Quatap. I thought I was going to say something bugged out. Pluck grapes, Syriac. The hell is that saying? Quatap. Yeah, it says Quatap as well. Compare Syrian Katapu. Pupu. Apparently pluck off. Yeah, so it just means to pluck, right? So there you have it, right? Deuteronomy 23, right? Going into the Hebrew, Lord willing, you were edified, right? And this is it. This is the end of the chapter, right? It's Brother Yatazadak, hero of Israel, giving honor and glory, of course, and always. My walam wa'id I walam, forever and ever. To Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakudash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Kwam Yasha Allah and Shalom. And above all.